Quant Capital, an African-headquartered global investment private equity firm, held its first-of-its-kind real estate investment trust seminar on Thursday, 17th of August 2017, at the Renaissance Hotel, Ikeja, Lagos. The seminar was geared towards deepening real estate investment trust rates in Nigeria, and it is designed to provide professionals with an understanding of the real estate industry's unique drivers and challenges. The seminar was also to equip participants with knowledge of how to build advanced rates valuation models using actual current case studies. Also, it was an avenue for participants with little or no knowledge of real estate investment trust to gain an understanding of the nature of rates, its relevance, and key features. The goal of Real Estate Investment Trust Fund is to build a dependable and ever-increasing rental cash flow and also include opportunities for capital appreciation to investors. Many countries have keyed into the real estate investment trusts and have significantly tapped into it through real estate development. It is for this reason that Quant Capital decided to organize a seminar to enlighten investors and Nigerians on the benefits of real estate investment trusts in Nigeria, as it will go a long way to boost the country's economy. The seminar paraded experienced resource persons from within and outside the country, who enlightened participants on the benefits of real estate investment trusts. Starting the seminar was the opening prayer led by Mr. Tunde Lemo. This was followed by the opening remark by the Honorable Commissioner for Housing in Lagos State, Prince Gbolahan Lawal. In his address, he said the event is of great importance to Lagos State and Nigeria at large. He added that putting infrastructure in place and providing affordable housing for all is of great importance to the present administration. He applauded the organizers of the event for the initiative.
This is a very important day for us in Lagos and indeed Nigeria. For us to be having this seminar here in Lagos is very, very important to me as Commissioner for Housing. So for us in Lagos, housing is on the front burner and affordability is very, very critical. But can only government do it? We all know that it's not easy. For Lagos today, we have about 4,355 housing units that we have earmarked for rent-to-own scheme. I'm sure we all know what rent-to-own scheme. The rent-to-own scheme is a new initiative of Mr. Akinwumi Ambode, whereby subscribers or prospective buyers will have to pay 5% commitment fee, and the rest you spread for 10 years while you are living in that house. After 10 years of payment, the house will totally become yours.
The first speaker at the seminar, Mr. Tunde Lemo, who spoke on real estate investment trusts as an alternative national development paradigm in Nigeria, started by applauding the organizers of the seminar for their thoughtful initiative geared towards elevating the economy of the country through real estate investment trusts. He said Nigeria is at major thresholds, politically and economically, and the challenges the country is facing are not peculiar to Nigeria, adding that what the country should be particular about are solution-based approaches aimed at mitigating national issues and setting the agenda for future national development. Mr. Tunde Lemo said, Nigeria has experienced 57 years of mixed economic outcomes, and that the over-reliance on oil as the bedrock of our national economy in a fast-changing world of technology is one of the major problems in the country.
We agree that our over-reliance on oil as the bedrock of our economy in the past, in the midst of this fast-changing world of technology and global drive towards alternative energy resources away from fossil fuel, building national income to finance national development needs, Real Estate Investment Trust provides, therefore, the pertinent framework to drive not only real estate and infrastructure development, but also to create employment, increase liquidity, and positively mitigate inflationary rate and reduce poverty. And by this, reduce the alarming tendencies of poverty-related social vices, including even Boko Haram and all the other vices, kidnapping, and those crimes that are prevalent with our youth today. It's also aimed to stimulate economic growth with overall positive impacts on GDP and national income. And I tell you, as an investor myself, if in retirement I am looking good today, it's because I've done a little bit of investment in property. Every other area has failed me except property. And so, REITs indeed is the way to go in Nigeria.
The next speaker, Mr. Wale Gomez, in his lecture titled Real Estate Investment Trust Operational Structure, the USA Model, took time to explain the various types of real estate investment trusts using the USA Model, while analyzing the primary benefits of real estate investment trusts. He added that real estate investment trusts, as practiced in the US, is structured in a way that the entity does not pay corporate income tax like direct real estate holdings, but are taxed at the investor level. He rounded off with a call to invest in the real estate investment trust, as it will go a long way to enrich the country's economy.
We all go abroad and we see the beauties of America. We see the beauties of United Kingdom. We see the beauties of Dubai. Do you really think one person has that sort of money to build all those things? Most of the properties that you have abroad, that you see abroad, those big, mighty buildings, they're all created out of REITs. So America introduced this system after evaluating what it takes to create properties. They brought out this REITs. REIT is simple. Let's just make it as simple as possible. As simple as possible. REIT is just a susu geared towards real estate. That's all what REIT is all about. Primary benefit of REIT structure is that the entity does not pay corporate taxes. Well, the person that's going to talk about REITs, about tax on REITs, will talk more, will delve more into that. REITs are taxed at the investor's level in America, as opposed to corporation that is taxed on the entity level. In order to achieve the tax status, REITs must adhere to the following qualification. For you to, in America, for you to be exempted from paying tax, there are certain qualification levels that you have to attain before you are allowed to go into tax without paying tax. Okay? The first thing you have to do is to be structured as a taxable corporation. That's in America. Number two, to be managed by a board of directors or trustees. I'm giving you an overview of the American system. Or to be a director or trustees. Now in America, in REITs, in Nigeria, the REITs are purely by trustees. Distribute 90% of your taxable net income as dividend. When I get to the dividend distribution, I'll explain more about the taxable net income. As dividends to shareholders, to the unit holders. Have at least 75% of the assets in real estate, real property or loan secured by the REITs. Derive at least 75% of your gross income from real estate income, rent or interest from mortgages. Have a minimum of 100 shareholders. Have no more than 50% shares held by 5 or fewer individuals.
This was followed by a question and answer session. Prince Deremi Daniel, in his presentation, spoke on the operational guidelines of Real Estate Investment Trust (REIT) in Nigeria. He expressed optimism that despite the economic downturn in the country, the sector is still growing, with high-rise buildings, estates, shopping malls and hotels springing up everywhere, from Lagos to Abuja, Port Harcourt, Asaba, Warri, and many other parts of Nigeria. He further explained the Nigerian perspective of the Real Estate Investment Trust scheme and provided a clear understanding of the workings of the scheme in Nigeria. Concluding his presentation, Prince Deremi Daniel said, even though real estate investment trusts are still underinvested, there is still need to build awareness of the scheme, especially among local and small-scale investors.
Nigeria right now, having gone 10 odd years in REITs, should be strong enough to claim its rightful place in Africa. But why is it not claiming? Because of awareness. So much so now, even the mechanics, the painter, all of them have how many lines? Maybe 3, 4 of MTN, Airtel, Glo. You know, just because one doesn't work, they migrate to the other. That is what REIT is supposed to be for. REIT is supposed to create an avenue of revenue for you in buildings such as this, in buildings such as a mall, in buildings such as an office complex, in buildings such as residential buildings. Why am I saying that? Because I know, because there is experience in that. In all other countries, REIT explains for 2.5 to 5%, but in Nigeria, we're just 0.5%. That is a great disappointment. For any REIT scheme, there must be a cash management agreement. That agreement must be in place for the bank that is maintaining the accounts. Again, when the investment has come in, the pool of funds is there, and everything is going on, a third level of confidence built into the scheme is an investment committee. The investment committee must be provided for in a trust deed that must be drawn up for the purpose of the REIT scheme. That investment committee must be headed by the chairman of that committee, must be from the trustees, again independent of the funds manager. Why is that in place? It is a third level of security for the investors to know that their funds is not being tampered with, either by the funds manager who is in cahoots with the account bank, is separate and independent from them.
His presentation was followed by a question and answer session. The fifth speaker for the night was Mr. Segun Ajanlekuku, who spoke on the topic, Real Estate Investment Trust, a vehicle for real estate and infrastructural development, strategic valuation. He said, the continuing emphasis on real estate investment trust, an offshoot of the housing development sector, cannot be sustained without the establishment of a specialized financial institution which formulates monetary policies, including access to cheap funds that are geared towards financing construction products for both short and long-term projects. In his conclusion, he called on the federal government to establish a construction bank that is private sector driven, adding that such a bank will revolutionize the construction industry and resuscitate all abandoned government projects.
So these are statistics that form the basis of how or where our problem lies and what are the solutions that are available to meet these needs. Today, I'll give a statistics. The financial sector we belong to has been struggling to meet up with the huge capital outlay, which is often required for the production of construction products. In 2010, the CBN reported that only 8.7% of credit to the private sector went to the housing, and the sector went down. The total loans and advances by all the mortgage banks in Nigeria was just about 124 billion. What's that compared to what we need? It can't even do a major road project. The housing finance is up to 90% of typical bank balance sheets, and that's where the problem is. How can you use short-term fund, high interest rate to do housing, to build housing? We will never move, and that's why we have never moved.
An interactive session ensued after his presentation. Anthony Igbiniyesu, a UK-based lawyer with over 19 years' experience in property practice, who was ably represented by Mrs. Abimbola Aze, delivered his speech. In the presentation, he explained property laws and other legal instruments and considerations for successful real estate investment trusts. Using the UK experience as an example, she added that 70% of most offices and high-rise buildings in the United Kingdom were built with the instrument of real estate investment trust. She added that with economic power in the hands of Nigerians, developing a full structured real estate investment trust market will do a world of good for the attendant disparity in the real estate deficiency in the Nigerian property market.
A REIT will operate in most respects as any other UK publicly traded company, but with certain material differences as described below. The following assumes the REIT is subject to the listing rules that apply to an issuer with a premium listing. Internal or external management. The REIT may either be internally managed, meaning its own officers and employees manage the portfolio of assets owned by the REIT, or externally managed, whereby the REIT has no employees, its board is comprised solely of non-executive directors, and the executive function is outsourced to a third-party investment management company under the terms of an investment management agreement. Investor preference in the US is for internal management, which increasingly is becoming favored in Europe, largely due to a perception that external manager interests can deviate from those of the REIT and that conflicts of interest may arise. In practice, shareholder and manager interests can be aligned by linking the quantum of manager remuneration closely to the performance of the REIT.
The last speaker for the day was Pastor Itua Igodalo, who lectured participants on all they need to know about tax considerations, implementations, and propositions. He gave an overview of real estate tax in Nigeria and explained the various taxes that apply to real estate transactions and taxes pertaining specially to real estate investment trusts, types of real estate investment trust, implications, benefits, challenges, among others. Rounding off his lecture, Pastor Itua Igodalo said, although the real estate investment trust is still an evolving industry in Nigeria, the tax exemption of 2010 has made REITs investment truly attractive to both local and international investors. He added that there should be greater engagement of real estate investment trusts to deepen the economy.
There is taxes attributable to both real estate, both transfer taxes, both inheritance taxes that people tend to want to avoid in Nigeria. So generally, when you are this in their various states and slightly different rates, and if the transaction is done by a company or corporate organization, then the company's income tax and personal income taxes kick in, education tax and value-added taxes. I've differentiated this because sometimes real estate is done by individuals. Individuals do real estate transactions, and in that case, they go through capital gains, stamp duties, state property taxes. But if the real estate is done by a corporation or a company, then company's income tax and personal income tax also kicks in, education tax and value-added tax.
To bring the seminar to an end was the closing remark by the Managing Director of Quant Capital, Mr. Wale Gomez, who thanked participants for coming and urged them to make good use of the lessons learned at the seminar. The Real Estate Investment Trust Seminar, which is the first of its kind, will continue in other states across the country. From Beacon Communications, we commend Quant Capital on this great contribution to the development of Nigeria in the area of real estate.